I'm fine. How are you, Andrew? That took a bit of getting through, but I got there.
Yeah, it always takes a bit of time. Hello, Howard. Getting some hellos from the audience here. Thanks for joining us, Wendy.
Nice to be here. Nice to talk to you.
All right, I just want to quickly do my formalities. My name's Andrew McKenna. I'm the founder of the African Turf Academy. I've started this interview series just to keep us busy during lockdown and keep our networks going. So Wendy Cole is from the RNA. She looks after the sustainability and the scholarship program for the RNA. So we're going to hear about that. Where are you at the moment, Wendy?
I'm at home, sitting in my sunroom. If you can see from this side of my head, we actually have some sunshine today.
Oh, very nice. And the temperature?
19 at the moment, but
Wow.
going down.
Going down. Okay,
yeah.
Very nice. Oops. Very nice. Okay, Wendy, I'm going to ask you a few simple questions before we get going.
Yeah.
The sea or the countryside?
Sea, always.
Okay. Rugby or football?
Now, it would have to be footballs. It's Howard
really?
Swan's listening. It has to be Newcastle United.
Newcastle. Okay, and then one that's appropriate for now. Working from home or working from the office?
Working from home. I love it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to get started with your questions. How did you become working for the RNA? Tell us your story and your journey to the RNA.
Well, it's a very strange story. I didn't work at all in anything to do with golf. In fact, I started my career at the British Ship Research Association on the banks of the River Tyne. But I worked with guys who operated something called a hull roughness gauge, which measured the smoothness on ships. So it's quite ironic that 40 years later, I'm still working with people who use a gauge to measure smoothness. And the roughness gauge was very much like a small trueness meter. So yeah, I started a long time ago in admin, worked my way up to office manager, and then moved to Scotland. Obviously, I'm not Scottish, come from the northeast of England. So moved up to Scotland with my husband and saw the job advertised for the R&A. Didn't know who the RNA were, knew nothing about them at all, but went along. Was interviewed by Steve Isaac, along with a couple of others.
Did you do some research before the interview then?
I did, but not knowing anything about golf, you know, you read up. And at the time, the RNA weren't fantastic at promoting themselves. We're a little better now. So it was difficult to find any information other than the club. Anyway, I went along to the interview, and the interview was a strange interview, very, very quick for any interview I'd been to, but managed to get the job and started work for Steve Isaac 13 years ago. And so from then, I just progressed throughout the R&A. So I started as a secretary, working for Steve Isaac, but also for Alison White in the golf development department. Are
you reading? Don't read.
I'm
Don't
reading.
Read. Don't read.
Cheeky. Yeah, working for Steve Isaac, and it developed from there. I saw what Steve was doing in what was then the golf course management department, and thought I could add something to what we did by taking on roles. So I took on the scholarship program, and I took on a program we ran at the time called the Greenkeeping Machinery Program, which we ran successfully for 10 years. So my job just developed and moved away from the secretarial admin side to the role I have now.
Okay, do you want to touch on the Greenkeeping Machinery Program, because that was a very interesting project?
It was a very interesting project. The aim of the project was to assist clubs who weren't affluent enough to be able to afford basic machinery to maintain their courses. Typically throughout Africa, although we did help courses across the world, but we donated basic triple greensmoors and pedestrian hand mowers. And it was a very successful program. We held lots of courses over many years, but we also in the latter years, we took the program to the courses and actually provided maintenance instruction on how to maintain the equipment, because we then felt that we were getting better value for our money for spending that program if we taught the people who were using it how to maintain it and how to look after the course and why they were using the machinery that they had. So it went down very well, but we came to the end of the program because we exhausted the courses we had, and the R&A decided to move their focus from the machinery program onto other things such as our Golf Course 2030 program. So the machinery program ended in 2018, but we still hear stories of clubs we've helped in the past, which is really good.
Yeah. I often get contact, well, not often, but I've been contacted a few times as well. It would have been nice if we had been sort of in the same era, wouldn't it? Because
it would. We overlap slightly, but not to a great degree. Yeah.
Okay. So then you've how many years has the scholarship program been running for?
The scholarship program's been running since 2004, but we started in 2004 with one scholar from Elmwood College, a Chinese lady. We've now grown and we have 395 different scholars from 37 different countries. Yeah, the program just continues to grow and grow. And this year, before all of the coronavirus kicked off, we managed to extend our program into Australia. So we now have 6 students from Melbourne Polytechnic, 3 doing a diploma course and 3 doing a degree course in sports turf, who are now part of the program. And hopefully when we all get back to normal and when things get back onto an even keel, we'll be able to expand that program even further into Australia.
Again, how does the program work? How do you identify the students? What do they get for what do you offer them? And so on? Well,
the way we work is that we work alongside the colleges. So we choose a college to work with. So in the past, we had Myerscough College in England and SRUC Elmwood in Scotland. And they were the only 2 establishments that we worked with. And we worked with them for many, many years. And the way it worked is that as the colleges took in a new intake, for the relevant programs, so for the sports turf programs that we support from level 4 or HNC up to MA, they would introduce the program to their students before they even spoke to the R&A at all. But what we did, we put together a presentation and put it on their online service so that the students knew more about the program before they decided whether they thought it was for them or not. And then the way it works is that a student would apply. There's an online application form. The student would apply, and if they get through the application process, they would be invited to interview. The interviews are they're strict. They're meant to be strict. We want the very best in the industry to come forward as R&A scholars. So the interview would take place with myself, with their college tutor, and with a working golf course manager. Okay. And we would ask them questions, see what they know about the R&A. What do they know about our work? What do they think we do?
Do they have to be in the industry to qualify already?
Yes, they do. They have to be undertaking sports turf qualifications. And the way it's worked over the years, when I first started this scholarship program, when I first got involved with it, most of the students were full-time at college. Okay. But over the years, that's changed. And we now have probably 90% of our students are distance learners. So they're out in the industry working greenkeepers, but undertaking education as well. The industry itself has changed in that education has become much more important. It's become seen as a requisite for moving on in your role. You need that paper qualification that says, I not only have the skills and the experience, but I have the paper qualification to back that up. So its education has become more important. So we have more and more course managers actually applying to be scholars.
Yeah, so they're working. I mean, I think that's the way education's moving. Yeah. In general, is that more and more guys are working, studying while they work.
I think it's twofold, Andrew. I think one, it's the jobs market, in that you cannot afford to just take time out of your career to go back to college for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is, because you'd be left behind when you came back to join the jobs market.
Yeah.
But also
with
the
debt.
cost. Big debt, the cost. It varies as to what college you go to, but the cost is still substantial. And if you can do the same qualification, it may take you an extra year, but if you can do the same qualification for less money, then people are obviously wanting to do that. So that's the way you apply and you get through the interview process. If you're successful, and not everyone is, we should point that out too. There are people who don't get through the application process, and there are people who don't get through the interview. But if you do get through, then hopefully we would think that the benefits are really worthwhile. There is a financial award, but it really isn't the big thing anymore. When I first started doing this, you would ask people why they want to be a scholar, and they would want to be a scholar because of the finance to help them pay for their education. That is still important. It will always be important, but it's not the factor, the overriding factor that makes people apply for a scholarship. The one thing they really, really want is the network. They want to be part of that network. They want to be associated with the R&A, and they want the ability to call on that, on those knowledge skills, the experience we have in our scholarship. They want to be able to do that. So the network is one thing. We have a closed community website that the scholars are all invited to join. We have a Facebook page so they can all chat and they can ask questions and post photographs, but they also post blogs. So if they are doing a particular project at their course, an irrigation project or whatever it may be, they can post a blog about that and learn from each other. So it's a great resource. We also offer them the opportunity to work at tournaments. At the moment, we have more or less guaranteed the Singapore Open in January every year and the Nedbank Challenge in South Africa. We've had great success sending scholars to those two events, and the organisers of those events are very happy to have our scholars because of the quality of employee we're sending.
If I can just butt in there, while I'm doing these interviews, for me, sitting here, it's fascinating to listen to I'm almost saying this every day, but the recurring messages coming through to me, and it's this one here is value add.
Yes.
So when you're like from all the different guys, whatever they're doing, they're pushing, adding value from their product.
Yes,
and this is what's coming through in this conversation, is that the RNA are not just paying for your fees; they're paying. That's a given, and all the other things that come with that is such a big value add to your career. The network, the being able to blog, to go to tournaments, being able to say you're an RNA scholar when you graduate.
Absolutely.
All of those things is wonderful.
And we've found from experience from the scholars we already have, it really makes a difference. When you are in an interview and you're up against 4 or 5 other guys who've got the same qualifications as you, similar experience to you, if you're an RNA scholar, if you've been and you've volunteered at the Singapore Open or our Open or Nedbank or any of the others, BMW, etc., all of the tournaments we offer, it gives you that added extra. It gives you that little bit of nose ahead of the crowd. And that's what matters to people. You know, they want to see, because education is so important now, and because people are understanding the value of it and they are getting themselves further educated, then the level of qualifications is higher when you go for an interview. So you may have people who all have an HND or they all have a degree, but not all of them are RNA scholars, and not all of them have our endorsement.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve at African Turf Academy as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's very apparent coming through the airwaves your passion of this project, which is wonderful. What are your proudest moments? Have you got any standouts? Maybe you don't want to identify individuals, but I'm sort of putting that to you. Your proudest moments and your standout graduates.
I think my proudest moments are when I'm there with them. So at their graduation, when I'm there and I think we had a very, very small part to play in their graduation, and to be part of their day and to see them come to the end of their education. That's a very proud moment for me. But also when they leave education and they continue their relationship with me, most of the time through email, but to think that when they get a new position, when they get a promotion, they think to email me and let me know, because they want me to be proud of them because of what they've achieved, because of our involvement. So my proudest moment is through them and what they achieve. And when I get feedback from tournaments which say, your scholars were great, they were, you know, really helpful, they were really joined in, they just gave it their all, that makes me proud.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm talking to one of your scholars about coming on next week.
Right.
Neville. I'm going to speak to him later in the day. I've heard that he's keen. So,
well, if I was forced to pick out one scholar, it would be Neville.
Oh, really?
He has been an inspiration. Neville joined us on the scholarship program when he was only an NC student, but he was such an outstanding student that the college wanted to push him forward and push him one step ahead of everyone else. And he did them proud, he did me proud, but most of all, he did himself proud. He is such an inspiration and such a professional for this industry we're in. Neville is definitely my standout student.
Okay,
not that I'm not proud of them all, I am, but Neville is a shining example.
Okay. Yeah, Neville left the industry recently because he had some family bereavement. But I heard yesterday that he started up his own turf consulting business, which then allows him to come into our little show here. Because I don't think I'd want to go outside the industry, even if someone who had been strong in the industry. So we'll get him in next week and we'll talk to him about his experience of the RNA process as well. Okay, so go on. Sorry.
No.
Okay, so you cover the scholarship program. You're like the mum of the program. I think a lot of students, scholars see you as the mum. And what else do you do? What else do you do with the RNA?
Well, my role is manager of sustainability. So sustainability really is the glue that holds all the RNA departments together. We in St Andrews are spread across many buildings, which sometimes makes communication a little fragmented. But sustainability doesn't just stick to one department. We glue the whole of the departments together. So we work across every department, involving them in what we do, trying to keep them informed. And part of that is my role as head of the corporate responsibility group.
Okay.
So last year we started up a corporate responsibility group and created a corporate responsibility policy for the whole organisation, looking at procurement, our procurement policies, looking at travel, transport, energy, waste, community, how we fit into our local community. So there are 13 of us on the group, and we do our best to look at what's out there in the industry and take advantage of it, and to change our procedures so that we look to be aware of our carbon footprint and how we can reduce it, and what we can do to blend in with our community, assist our community. We've looked at energy, our energy sources. When you're looking at the buildings we have, energy is a big thing because we have lots of old buildings, and they're all modified. So it's things like that we do. But corporate responsibility is in its infancy in the R&A, but we are pushing it forward. And we've just recently.
What other examples? What other examples have you got of things that you would have done?
Waste management. We look at segregating our waste now. We never did before. Okay. Reporting our waste, so we know what waste we have and how we can improve that, how we can reduce waste. We've taken away, it seems a very, very small thing, but we've taken away everyone's desk bins. So no one has a bin under their desk anymore. So they walk to a recycling point and they recycle their paper or their card or whatever. And it's small changes, but once they all add up, it's going to make a big difference.
Absolutely. Okay, so which part do you prefer?
I love my scholarship program. I love my scholars. I think if anyone talks to me, anyone who knows me, they know that. I just love the program. I'm very much a people person, and I like working with people, and most of my scholars appreciate that, and I have a great relationship with them, so that I'm interested in them, I'm interested in what they do, I'm interested in their families, and they reciprocate, so we have a great relationship.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite.
Okay, so you've got all these guys coming through. Like I was saying about the interview process, where I get common themes that keep coming to me, and I've got to focus on these more in my own world. But what do you find? Do you find a common trait amongst the guys who go on and do well through your scholars? And what are those common traits?
Passion, without a doubt. Passion for the industry, passion for their own particular course, passion to always be learning, not just formal education, but learning all the time, learning from each other, learning from experience. The thirst for knowledge is incredible within them. And also, I don't know whether it's the ones we choose or whether they already have it and that's why they become scholars, but their professionalism, they're wanting to do the very, very best they can in a very professional manner. So the ones that succeed really are the ones who are good communicators, the ones who can present themselves and their I hesitate to say arguments, but their views and their knowledge and their ideas, if they can put those across in a good way to their clubs, then they are the ones who are going to succeed.
Very good. Yeah, so passion encompasses so many things, but it drives you to want to add value. It drives you want to learn. It drives you to want to give back as well. Because I see with, I'm picking out names here, but everyone from Howard Swan to Craig Haldane and James Bledge and those guys, they all want to give back.
Yes.
They're always learning, and then they want to give back, which I love.
But they never, the other thing they all have, and they never ever forget where they started and how they got to where they are now. And they don't sit back and think, I'm okay now, I'm where I want to be, they think, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Who can I develop? Who can I bring along to this part? It's wanting to, as you say, give back, but wanting to develop a more professional industry. So they want more and more people, like-minded people, to come up through the industry behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched a program the other night, a interview with Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you've heard of that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he was talking about how we come into this corona issue, and we've got to come out. You've got to make sure you come out of it stronger than you entered it. And it was a very good message, that we mustn't sit and feel sorry for ourselves while we're stuck at home. We must do things that when we finish, we're coming out of it stronger than when we came into it. Absolutely. And just from my side, doing these, engaging with you guys on the interviews is definitely doing that for me. Growing the network, keeping our networks in contact, and so on.
That's been the most important thing for us working from home, is keeping the networks alive, making sure that people are aware that you're still interested, you still want to know how they are, you're still concerned about progressing, and as far as you know, learning and coming out stronger. From our point of view, from corporate responsibility point of view, why can't more of us work from home? Why do we need such big offices? You know, yeah. We could save on travel and transport. We can do this. You're in South Africa, I'm in Scotland. You know, we can do this across the world. We could cut down the amount we need to travel. There will always be a need for face-to-face.
Yeah, as long as you still keep coming to our conference, Wendy, you can
absolutely.
You can cut all the other travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen from here? What's your, what do you see? When do you think you're going to be back at work normally? When do you think life's going to get back to normality somewhat?
I think it's going to be a while yet. Certainly in the UK, we are waiting on Sunday for an announcement from our government to say whether they're going to release the strict lockdown we have now. We're not really allowed out other than to exercise and to go for food shopping. So we're hoping there will be some lifting of restrictions. But as for getting back into our normal life as we knew it, getting back into the office, I think it's going to be quite a time. For the R&A, we work in very difficult buildings to try and maintain social distancing. You know, we've got small corridors to cross, and, you know, many communal areas where we couldn't do social distancing. So I know that our chief execs, our senior executives are looking very closely at how they could make that work. But I think it's a while off yet.
Absolutely. Okay, all right, Wendy. If you've got any closing points you want to put out, or how do guys get in contact with you if they're interested in the scholarship program? I think
absolutely. There are two ways to get in contact with us. We've got a dedicated email address, gkscholars@randa.org, or they can just contact me directly at wendycole@randa.org. Okay. Happy to talk to anyone, answer anyone's questions, give more information, and how you move from being in South Africa, the African Turf Academy, to being an RNA scholar. It's possible and it's been done. So
yeah, we had one guy this year who did it.
Yeah. So
just to clarify for those guys who are watching this, the African Turf Academy brings in a performance side of golf and the education side. But when you leave the African Turf Academy and enter the working space, that's when you can contact Wendy through that pathway. You can do it other ways, of course, but that's the way we would like to see it happen through our program.
Yep, absolutely. And
okay.
we've had some great guys and some you know, really enthusiastic guys from ATA. So long may that continue. Yeah,
there's a lot of good guys coming through.
Yeah,
a lot of good guys leaving this year. So I'm trying to. I see Emirates Golf Club has joined. I'm not sure who watches from there, but I'm not sure if it's Marinas or is it Matt. But both of them are trying to help me get the boys jobs at in Dubai.
Well, get them to get in touch with me. More than
Yeah.
happy to talk to them.
Okay. All right, Wendy, any closing message before we close up here?
Just keep going, keep the network going, keep talking, keep joining together, all of us, because we are all in it together. And you know, this is what's important. People are important. People are the most important thing.
Mm. Yeah, and from my side, just thank you very much for everything that you do for the African Turf Academy, you and Steve, from your offices there. You know, we really appreciate it, and everything you do for us.
Not at all. We're delighted to be involved.
Okay. All right, Wendy, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time,
Andrew.
and we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.